Alright, let's just get right into it. The Hornets just made a big mistake. Now you are wondering, what is that big mistake? Leading to the draft, there was a lot of debate who should the Hornets draft with the second overall pick between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. And the day of the draft, Shams made a tweet saying Scoot was gaining a lot of momentum for the Hornets to draft him at number 2. But we know that didn't happen. They decided to draft Brandon Miller, and in my opinion, that was a mistake. Now, that's not me saying Brandon Miller is a bad prospect, a bad player, or will be a bad player going forward. I had him ranked as the 3rd best player in this draft class, and I do get the Hornets' rationale taking him. Brandon Miller is a better fit than Scoot on paper. Miller has the upside to be a good shooter from deep off the catch, benefiting off how good of a passer LaMelo is, and has the upside to create his own shot from deep off the bounce. He shot 38.4% from deep last season on a very high volume, with him shooting 7.5 attempts per game. He has the upside to be a giant pick and roll playmaker, with him being 6'9", and defensively he has the upside to be a versatile defender, being able to guard positions 2 through 4, but the Hornets made a mistake drafting him over Scoot. Scoot, for me and almost everyone, was the clear-cut second best player in this class, and he has a higher ceiling than Brandon Miller. Scoot is a generational athlete. His acceleration and burst is insane. He's a good playmaker as well. He is able to use the threat of his speed to manipulate defenses, to create passing windows. He's a good mid-range shooter, which I think is an underrated part of his game, because some people think Scoot is all athleticism with no shot, when that's not the case. He gets to the mid-range a lot and is efficient from there. Now, he's not a great shooter from deep, shooting 27.5% from deep on 2.7 attempts per game last season, but with how good of a mid-range shooter he is, I believe he can become a decent shooter from deep, and defensively, with his generational athleticism, he has the upside to be good defensively. Despite him only being 6'2", especially as a point of attack defender, Scoot's ceiling for me is an all-NBA guy, top 10 to top 12 player in the league, and a possible number 1 on a championship team, while Brandon Miller's ceiling for me is a multiple-time all-star. Maybe he makes 2 all-NBA teams, and at best, a second option on a championship team. I'm concerned how loose Brandon Miller handle gets when he has to dribble against defensive pressure. He is a subpar finisher around the rim, and sometimes he gets tunnel vision, which led him to average 2.1 assists per game to 2.2 turnovers per game last season. When you are drafting in the top 5, you almost always draft talent over fit, especially when you're a team like the Hornets. The Hornets just need talent on this roster. As I said earlier, Scoot is a generational athlete and clear-cut the second best player in this class. And the Hornets are a small market team that will not attract star or superstar free agents, so they have to hit on their top end picks. And in my opinion, they just passed on the player that is clearly better than the one they just drafted. I believed Scoot and LaMelo could have worked. LaMelo is good shooting off the catch from deep, and they both complement each other well. What one is great at can cover the other's weakness in that area. For example, Scoot is not the best shooter from deep, but LaMelo is. LaMelo is not that great at getting to the rim, but Scoot is. LaMelo is not that great scoring in the mid-range, but Scoot is. And they're both good playmakers, which you can't never have enough of in today's game. Now, there would be questions defensively of a LaMelo and Scoot backcourt, but I believe Scoot has the athleticism and the physical build to be a good point of attack defender. And LaMelo has the physical tools, being 6'7" and having a 6'9" wingspan, to be very solid or good defensively by just putting more effort. So yeah, the Hornets, y'all made a mistake, and now you will regret not drafting Scoot for the next decade or more. I appreciate you watching the video. If you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video. More content on the way.